Ah, the chilling and spectral presence of a ghost. It seems like whenever you kick back to watch a skin crawler of a horror film, there's a high chance the ethereal antagonist floating through the hallways and whispering from the shadows will be, you guessed it, a girl. But why is that? Let's dive into the crypt of horror tropes and see why directors and screenwriters seem fixated on feminizing phantasms. It's about vulnerability and societal norms. We're wired in a way that makes us see women and children as more vulnerable, which is, of course, a stereotype. But it plays into the hands of horror filmmakers. The image of a young girl, with her innocence and supposed frailty, becomes deeply unsettling when juxtaposed with something as unnatural as a haunting. It's that mix of innocence and terror, purity and malevolence that can make ghosts like Samara from The Ring or the parade of pale-faced spirits in The Grudge stick in your memory. Psychologically speaking, there's a twist here. Seeing a female spirit in distress or one that's malevolent can stir a complex emotional cocktail in audiences. We're not just scared, we're also empathetic, concerned, or even sometimes protective. This dual reaction creates a more compelling and engaging experience because our brains are firing on more cylinders than just fear. Culturally, there's also the unfortunate reality that women's stories in history often involve tragic ends or injustices, which make for the perfect ghostly origin story. How many tales involve a scorned woman or a life cut tragically short that leads to the ghost seeking vengeance or resolution? The narrative practically writes itself, ripe with emotion and the thematic weight of the past wrongs that many believe might cause a spirit to linger. Also, let's be real. It's a tried and tested formula. Filmmakers stick with what works and ghostly girls work. There's a reason movies like The Exorcist have become timeless. The chilling image of Regan in her possessed state defying all things holy. It's unnerving, and it stays with you. It's horror gold. Looking at the wider scope, it's not just girls. Women of all ages have become spectral staples in horror films. Now, is it fair? Probably not. Does it reinforce some stereotypes? Sure does. But as with all storytelling, it's about impact. If the motif of a female ghost didn't deeply unsettle people, it wouldn't be used as often as it is. Here from Portland, Oregon, an arguably spooky place in its own right given the right foggy night and eerie street lamp, I do think about these things. We've got our own history of ghost stories and hauntings down here, including the famous Shanghai tunnels, so the phantom femme seems to drift through our lore too. The real question is, who'll break the mold? I'm waiting for the day when a horror movie comes out that subverts all these expectations. Maybe it's time for the haunting from an elderly gent who's just furious about those kids skateboarding on the sidewalk. That's a spirit I could relate to, misunderstood and shaking his phantom fist at living rule breakers. Keep your eyes peeled, or maybe keep them covered. Some things you just can't unsee.